Doesn't matter what country you're in,
Yes.
there's still a way to go for women.
We can achieve whatever any individual in this world can achieve, and we can be at any place that any individual in this world can be.
In various forums and in various sectors, we are standing up. We are facing these complexities and having sleepless nights, and we are rising to the challenge.
Us as professional women should push to the next ladder. We found change, but we must make sure that change goes on.
Hello viewers and welcome to Rwanda Television. I'm Munyarukumbuzi and this is Words of Encouragement, a show produced by Rwanda Television to help you celebrate the International Women's Day that happens every year on the 8th of March. On the 20th anniversary of the African Capacity Building Foundation that was celebrated here in Kigali, Rwanda, Mrs. Gracia Machel made an amazing decision. I will let you discover it for yourselves.
Many of you will know that Mrs. Machel has access to fairly formidable individuals across the continent and in fact the globe. So you would wonder why she has selected this sort of youngish, little-known person to stand in her place at such an auspicious occasion. I did not ask her, so I can't answer that question for you. However, I do believe that her actions were fairly prophetic. I think that it is only an elder of her depth and wisdom that can fully appreciate that the African moment can only be achieved if it is centered around galvanizing the younger of this continent to take up the baton. I know for a fact that those of my generation who are here today and who are elsewhere are excruciatingly aware of the challenge and the task at hand. In various forums and in various sectors, we are standing up. We are facing these complexities and having sleepless nights, and we are rising to the challenge. While we do so, however, we depend on the wisdom of elders like Mrs. Machel, elders like many of you who are in this room, because you need to allow us to sit at your feet so that we can learn from wisdoms which you might even forgotten you have. It is therefore a humbling honor for a person of my caliber to do what I am doing today and speak to such an auspicious, honorable list of guests. And this significance is not lost to me.
I hope the passion, the determination, as well as the energy of Mrs. Namla has reminded you that a hero lies in you. The theme of the International Women's Day this year is Equal Access to Education, Training, Science and Technology, Pathway to Decent Work for Women. We discussed with an expert of education, Professor Shirley Randall, and she had this to say.
And we all know how Rwanda is top of the scale in terms of what's happening in gender in this country. We are so fortunate in having His Excellency the President, who's absolutely committed to gender equality as being really important for sustainable development. We are the top of the world in relation to women in Parliament. We have many women lawyers and judges. But we do have problems in some areas of our society still, and education is one of them. Now, if you look, for example, at the university, we don't have one female rector. I think we have 2 female vice-rectors in 18 universities. We have very few female lecturers, and that's not good for Rwanda in relation to developing academic learning and for students coming through from secondary schools. There is a barrier there that is an important barrier, because you can't teach in a university unless you have a master's degree. And we would all want that to be so. You do need to have a certain level of your own education and academic background before you can teach others in universities. Now, we know that many men in Rwanda who finish their bachelor's degree are able to go overseas to do masters and PhDs, but it's more difficult for women. They have family responsibilities, many of them with orphans, many of them with older members of their family to look after. So we don't have a cadre of master's graduates here among women in Rwanda.
Challenges, of course, will always be there, but we can only be called a winner after overcoming them and not succumbing to them.
You'll always have a voice inside you that will tell you it's not possible to do something. That voice is always there. Throughout our lives, different kinds of people. In fact, sometimes I read stories about people like Oprah or Hillary Clinton. When they're going to make speeches, when they're going to ask themselves, what am I going to say? You know, that voice is always there. Am I going to do it right? What am I going to say? Am I going to sound ridiculous? Am I going to be accepted? All those negative questions and voices are always in your head. But there's something that we always have to tell ourselves, which is to say no to them.
We come from, not just Rwanda, but Africa comes from a place where women were suppressed in society, you know, to the point that a woman would actually not believe that she is the equal to man, or probably at certain points even better than man. But we've managed to come from there. And a woman wasn't actually made what she is today because she was pushed forward by other people. It's because she finally she recognized something. She said, I need to be where I want to go. So whether you're a woman or a man, I think that's where everyone has to start. You first have to recognize, okay, I may not know where I want to go today, but I want to have a plan. And I want to believe that I can do it. And that willpower actually takes you down that road of success, of your success, you know?
I am absolutely committed to knowing that a world that is better for women is a world that is better for men too.
We're still talking about challenges. Now we talk to Dr. Muita, who had to go through many challenges, but she had a goal, becoming a medical doctor, and all the other chances that came afterwards. I hope you will listen to her words of wisdom as well as follow her advice.
Looking back and using my own experience over time, one of the things I would like to give, especially to young girls who are contemplating the future, right now maybe they're in high school or maybe they're already in university, it is important to have a purpose for what you want to do in life. It's unfortunate that in Africa, because of poverty and all the issues that we have to face, the challenges of life, that you never sit down to look at what is your purpose, what do you want to do in life. But I think it's important that each one, and especially as girls are exiting or boys are exiting high school, that they think forward and they say, what do I admire in life that I would like to be? Because I think it's important to do that. I did that when I was in high school in a long time ago, and I admired being a doctor. And maybe that helped me to move forward. I come from a very poor background. My father worked for the Ministry of Works as a driver, so he didn't have a lot of resources. I come from a background of any Rwandese family in the rural areas. My father, he used to joke with us that even when, by the time he retired from government practice, he never earned more than 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is very, very little money. But he was able to educate 7 of us up to the level at which we wanted to go to school. But what he put into us was that we needed to have a purpose. We wanted to be someone. We didn't want to remain like him. We wanted to move to the next step. And I think that is important, that everybody should be looking higher, despite how it looks difficult. Despite how it looks difficult, it is still possible. If it was possible for me, coming from that background, to end up here, then we can do it. And you don't look back and say, there's a very big challenge, so I'm not going to move. When you fall, you stand up, you clean up your skirt, and you move ahead. That's what has happened. And I must say that I went to school in the early 60s, soon after independence in my country. And you can imagine we were the first generation post-independence kids in school. We were very lucky. And maybe that's how come my parents were able to give me education, because it was almost free. Now we have almost free education here. If we don't take that opportunity and say, yes, education is free, and then we take it and be serious and go to school, then we will regret down the line. So I went to school during that time, and I know that if I had not gone to school, I can see, because you can look back, when I go home back to visit my mom, I go straight to the rural area and I can see my age mates who didn't go to school. They probably have 10 children or many more children. Some of those children have ended up in jail. Others have died because they did not move forward. They had a lot of children. They were not able to bring them up properly. And then finally, they have ended up in all forms of problems. With health, they also end up in criminal activities. They end up in so many other things. But I don't think we should be tied. And I think as Africans, we have to start standing up and saying, no matter how the challenge looks big, we can move forward. I think if you look at my wall, I have the picture of Obama. He teaches us a lot. He comes from almost zero, and he is the president of the United States. So if that can happen, it can happen for everybody. And I think all of us should use that kind of model where you can move. And that's why I'm saying for the girls and boys who are now in high school, they can take it from me that it's possible to do it. You can go to school with very little. We missed a lot of meals when we went to school. I didn't have more than one dress that I could change. I had my uniform and my Sunday clothes. So that was all that I had. But given the fact that I didn't want to look back, I wanted to move forward, and so did my whole family. Maybe almost beaten by our parents, but it had an impact. And now I can look back and say, for that purpose, I managed to be a doctor. I managed to join UNICEF, and I keep on driving, because there is no time that you can sit down and say, I have achieved. If you set a goal ahead of you all the time, then you will keep on achieving much more. When we were starting a long time ago in medicine, and we were just very few women trying to study medicine, few African women trying to study medicine among men, we never thought that we could break some of the problems that we were facing of discrimination, whether it was economic, whether it was jobs, or it was even entering particular areas of medicine to study. The current years are different. So it is important that our professional women come out and tell girls that they can come and do technical subjects, they can do science, and they can perform in science. Us as professional women should push to the next ladder. We found change, but we must make sure that change goes on.
A primary school teacher was the best job her father had predicted for her, but she refused, and she said she wanted to go to university, which she did, and after so many hurdles, she became a medical doctor. I hope her life experience will be an inspiration for you.
And in 1975, when I finished my secondary school, I wanted to go to university because I was the top of my class. It was what we called école scientifique. So it was really, my orientation was to go to university, and I wanted to do medical school. My father has told me, my daughter, you see, we are old, we are poor, you should stay and work and find a teaching job at the primary school here, because I don't see why you should go to school again. You'll never become Madarina Inghamie anyway. And that Madarina Inghamie was the first woman to be a minister in the government of Kaiwanda, I think, in 60s, in 66, 67. Yeah, because I remember I was in primary school when we were studying the names of the ministers of that time. And then Madarina Inghamie was the Minister of Social Affairs at that time. And I convinced my dad that he could let me try to find a place, because it was not even sure that I would have scholarship to go to university. But my head mistress helped me, and then I went to university till I practiced, and then that very big day I became Minister for Social Affairs. And the same evening, I even didn't know that when people are sworn in, they organize parties. And when we finished swearing in at the parliament, the people of my party came to me, Odette, where are we going to go from here? I said, for what? Haven't you organized a party? I said, but I didn't know. And a friend of mine, Anne-Marie Shelando, she said, don't worry, I'm going to organize and help you organize a first party. And so she went to Shelando and they prepared everything and they brought it to our home. I was so happy, and all those people who were happy that I was sworn in as Minister of State for Social Affairs. And almost at the end of the party, they said, now the new minister needs to tell us something. I got up to talk, and immediately I remembered my father telling me, my daughter, you will never be Madarina Ingami in this country where a Tutsi doesn't have a place, where you can't be anything. The biggest job you can have is to be a teacher at the primary school. Why should you go to university? And that very day, I had become Madarina Ingami. That day, I was sworn in as Minister of State for Social Affairs, and I could feel that anything can happen. Then, from that time, I've been seeing many big people of this world. I've been in very big meetings, UN General Assemblies. I've returned to White House many times, and I've welcomed many people who came to Rwanda, presidents, when I was in the cabinet. And I went back to the White House in the delegation of my president, and I've been in places where I had never thought I could be. And I think that every person that works for, that believes that working hard and being yourself, work and be yourself, and work hard and do what you are supposed to do, not only for you, not only for your family, but for your country, for the world. I think you are rewarded for it, and I feel like I'm so happy that I've had that chance. I want to tell the women that they shouldn't be thinking because we are women, because we are girls, we can't achieve what men can achieve. We can achieve whatever any individual in this world can achieve, and we can be at any place that any individual in this world can be. And I would really want to tell, especially girls at university, that they shouldn't be looking at themselves as girls whose first priority is to have a boy and marry, but say, no, I want to be somebody. I want to work for my country, for my family, for this world, to have a change, and a good change, a positive change.
Viewers, that's all we had for you today. We hope those life experiences have been an inspiration for you. We wish you the best International Women's Day. And please do remember, equal access to education, training, science and technology, pathway to decent work for women. I was Emmanuel Munyarukumbuzi, and I wish you the best. Please do enjoy the rest of the programs, brought to you by Rwanda Television.